Everybody, today is Wednesday, June 26th. It's 6:15 a.m. We're on our way to Dunkin' Donuts. We're gonna get $6 for 3.6 miles. Let's get on over there to Dunkin'. Yesterday was a really strange day. It was the first day where really no significant work came in that was worth taking. And I don't know if it's gonna be a trend or not. It seems to always just go up and down, you know. Sometimes it's slow and other times it gets really busy. And I guess even when it gets slow, sometimes it can get extremely slow where there's practically nothing going on, which was what was happening yesterday. And then of course, you know, the opposite's true. Sometimes it can get so busy it seems like the app just never stops ringing. So it's all just based on customer demand and who knows what this job's gonna bring every single day. That's what makes it kind of interesting. And also, you know, if you depend on the income, it's kind of scary. I don't know. To me, I feel like I'm on the outside looking in when I do this job, because I don't feel like I have that, you know, the concern that most people have when they do this job. So it's just, I don't know. Sometimes when I make my videos, I wonder if it's helping people who do this job full time for a living. I think a lot of people that my videos seem to be good for, it's just people that like to watch it just for entertainment purposes. I don't know if it's that informative, although I try to make it informative. All right, well, we're here at Dunkin'. All right, we're gonna be headed off to a house. It's gonna be 4 minutes from here, 2 miles. It's just a leave at the door. Let's go. Yesterday when I went to go get my blood work, something weird was going on at the I think it's called like Quest Labs or something like that. Something weird was going on. There was a fire truck out front, and all the employees and all the patients were standing outside of the medical building. And I just parked and I started walking in, and they started like waving at me like not to go into the building. And so I got to the first door where like the automatically open, and all the lights were off inside of the building, and the alarms were going off inside, and all these lights were like strobe flashing inside. So I don't know what was going on. Maybe it was like carbon monoxide. Maybe somebody pulled the fire alarm. I don't know what happened. But obviously, once I realized that people didn't want me to go in there, I turned around and headed on out. And then I ended up having to go to another lab place to do the blood work because I realized like they're probably going to be completely closed all day, and even if they're not, the backup for the number of people that are going to be showing up and waiting to get their lab work done is going to be crazy. So I ended up having to fast for 15 hours yesterday to finally get the lab work done. So it was just really crazy yesterday. Yesterday was, and then of course after that once I finally ate, I had a headache, and so I was trying to shake off the headache yesterday, and I'm fine today though. All right, well, we're coming up on the neighborhood. We got about 0.1 miles to the drop off.
Turn right on Goops Avenue. Then
looks like this is an all single-story neighborhood. No gate. Houses look like they are slightly above average. They look nice.
Then drop off on the right.
Looks like a nice neighborhood. Looks like people are keeping up their houses here. It's gonna be on the right-hand side. Oh, is it this one? No. UberEats, $4.08, 4.7 miles. No. All right, while we're here, let's drop it off. All right, well, that was an easy drop off. I got a little confused about whether or not to set it on the floor or to set it on that planter, because the planter looked like it was just like a planter pot flipped upside down. I thought, well, this looks like they turned it into like a stand where they could put food orders if somebody came to the door, because it was near enough to the door where it made sense, where it was almost like a little table that they converted it to. So I took a chance. I'm like, well, okay, this looks like this is what they intended for, although they didn't say in their instructions to leave it on the white table or the white, space. It didn't say it. It just said leave at the door. So I just sort of figured, well, this is probably what they want. So I did it. And I'm sure it was good enough, because it'll not be there for very long, and it wasn't damaging anything. So yeah, that should have been fine. And then I had no service to unpause my DoorDash, which I don't know why. When I took the picture of the stuff at the door and submitted it to Uber, that went through just fine, like I had internet. But maybe it was just at that particular spot that I was at that I had internet, like near their front door. But the moment I went back towards the street, I lost connection again. So all right, now we're just waiting again, so let's see what happens next. I wanted to mention that if you ever get a notification in the middle of delivery that the customer changes the address and you haven't picked up the order, I highly recommend you cancel the order, because the person that is doing that may have by default made the order go to their house, which is probably going to be very near the restaurant. But then at the last minute they realize, oh no, I'm at the office, and so, or at work, so they actually will update the address to their work address. And the app just does it. It doesn't give them any type. It doesn't give you any type of warning, and it doesn't tell them, no, you can't do that. It 100% will allow them to update the address when you're in the middle of delivery. So it will totally throw off the number of miles that you will have to drive, even though they quoted you a totally different number of miles. They don't care. It just changes. So just be aware of that. It doesn't happen very often. I can only think of, on both UberEats and DoorDash, they've done that to me. And I can only think of maybe like a handful of times where that's happened to me in the what is it, the 4 or 5 years I've been doing this. But I thought I'd mention that because it does happen, and when you see it, it's just a little tiny pop-up. It says address updated, and so it almost looks like an afterthought, like it's no big deal. But believe me, it's a big deal. We got our next one, UberEats, $10.06 for 3.8 miles. Let's go to Starbucks. All right, we've arrived at Starbucks. It doesn't look that busy. I don't see that many cars where there would normally be lots of cars. So hopefully that means that we won't have to wait, that the drinks will be ready and we can be in and out of there lickety split. flight was ready. Okay, everything's in the car. We're gonna go to a house 2.6 miles from here, 7 minutes. It's a leave at the door. And then it says gate and a number. Maybe that's a gate code. All right, let's go. Still remodeling the Starbucks, another Starbucks that's about 2 miles north of here. And so this particular Starbucks, it sure gets a lot of traffic flow. I guess there wasn't a lot of people inside of Starbucks, but there was a lot of people at the drive-thru, I guess, that were getting their coffees. And you saw people just keep flowing in. It's crazy. It's crazy that they don't give the kind of lot space to Starbucks that they give to McDonald's, because it has like the equivalent of the same amount of traffic, it seems to me, as a McDonald's. Like the people just come and go all day long, especially at this time of day. So why they don't tell them that they have to be why the Starbucks aren't told that they have to have a bigger amount of parking space, I don't understand. Maybe because they fall under the category of a coffee shop, and maybe coffee shops don't have to have as much parking space, even though Starbucks is not even like a normal coffee shop. It's like a Walmart of coffee shops, because it has such high demand. It's not like a Coffee Bean. You know, Coffee Bean and Tea Leaf, they don't get anywhere near the kind of traffic that Starbucks gets. Yeah, I can't even think of another place that gets a coffee shop that gets the kind of traffic that Starbucks gets. Not even close. Dunkin' doesn't even get like that. Dunkin', the drive-through line gets long, but there's nobody in the parking lot at all. Well, because there's nowhere to sit inside the Starbucks too. But every time I go into the Dunkin', there's just a kiosk in there, and there's nobody in there like working the kiosk or waiting in line to pick up their stuff. Everybody's just sitting in the drive-through line, and that's it. Order more medication for my dog. He has some kind of disorder where he gets nerve pain in his legs, and so one of his paws, if he doesn't take the medication, becomes so painful he can't walk on it, and he has to limp around. So he's prescribed this medication called gabapentin, and I guess it's for neurological pain or something like that. It's not cheap. It's really expensive, but it works. We tried them on the cheaper pain medications. I can't remember what they're called, but that didn't do a thing. It didn't change his behavior at all. He was just like he wasn't taking any medication. So, but with this one, it's like a miracle. He has no pain at all. He just he acts totally normal. Of course, he still walks really slow because he's old. But yeah, he has no problem with that awful pain that he was having before. So he'll probably be on that for the rest of his life, more than likely, because there's no cure for whatever is ailing him. It's probably some genetic disorder from all the Yorkie inbreeding or something like that. And so I got to get him more of that. And then my dogs are just indoor dogs. They don't really get tons of exercise, so their nails get so long. So I got to get his nails trimmed. I got to make sure I do that. I got to make sure I do that this week. I'm going to try to, because I got families coming from out of town to stay, and once company comes, you can't get anything done. It's like everything just shuts down. It's all about catering to the house guests, and entertaining and going places and doing stuff. It's like everybody goes instantly on vacation when a house guest comes in. So that's going to put a wrench in the plans to hold off on doing that. So I got to make sure I get that done. I think after I'm done working today, I will call the vet and get the ball rolling on that, just so it's all done. And everything here is so expensive. Like to get my dog's nails trimmed, it's like $20. And then the medication, I won't say the exact amount, but it's over $100 for this medication. So it is crazy. Crazy. All right, we're in. I'm gonna have to start wearing my prescription glasses pretty soon. I could barely read what the number was on the app. I was like, what does this number say? Is this a 9 or is this an 8? I couldn't tell what it was. One of the curses of getting older is your vision starts to
Drop
go.
off on the right.
You know, something I can do about it. Well, at least I have glasses. I usually just use them at home to read. I don't use them when I'm driving. But with the app, sometimes the text is so small.
Drop off on the right.
Okay, it's coming up here. Is it this one? No, it's the next one. It looks like it's this one here. Okay, here we go. So excited for their Starbucks that while I was taking the picture, I could hear them unlocking the door and they were about to come out, and I was like, oh shoot, don't get in my picture. The apps don't like it if you take pictures of the customers. So I got the shot and I got the heck out of there before the door opened. So yeah, so everything went just fine on that one. Just the only issue was my vision. I was worried I wouldn't enter the code right. So I guess all you people out there, if you have glasses, make sure to bring them with you on this job if you need them to read, because sometimes the text can be really small in the app. Although you can do a screen capture of whatever's in the app and then zoom into it. And I've done that many times because I don't really like to wear my glasses when I'm in the car driving. Because they are, you know, they have no tint to them. UberEats, $3, 5 cents, 5.2 miles. No, they don't have any tint to them. And I have like the clip-ons, but then they're just like sunglasses. And then you take them on, you take them off. They're too dark when you're, and then you gotta take them off because you can't see because it's so dark. So I don't know. It's probably just better if I just do screen captures of the app and then just zoom in, because then I don't have to worry about wearing glasses at all. I just have to remember to delete whatever I did a screen capture of, so it doesn't clutter up my phone. And that's no big deal. Okay, we got another one from UberEats. $6 for 1.9 miles. We're headed off to Starbucks. Let's do it again. Went home for a little bit, and then I got caught up in this whole thing that they're doing at home where they're trying to find some attachment for an air pump. Everybody's scrambling to find this attachment to an air pump so they can blow up this inflatable pool toy. I'm like, I don't want to be involved in this. And yet every time I'm at home, somehow I get sucked into things. So there I am, trying to monitor my phone while I'm looking for some attachment for an air pump. I found something, but it doesn't work with the automatic, like a plug-in electric air pump. It's just like a hand pump that you makes air go into it. They were not happy about that because that involves work. They just want to plug something in and it just blows it up. So they're still looking, and I'm back to delivering. Thank you. Thank you too. On our way again to a house in a gated community. This is the one where we never have a gate code that works, and we usually have to follow somebody in. Somebody's backing up. So they put a gate code in here, but it doesn't mean anything. It's usually a code that doesn't work. So we have to just hope that somebody shows up to let us in, or we message them and they give us the information so that we can get in. It's 3 minutes from here, 0.6 miles. Let's go. Here we are again. Let's see if this code works. I bet you it does not. I'd be willing to wager any amount of money. Let's see. It did not work, so I gotta message them. All right, I'm calling them, I think. All right, it worked.
On Sky Point Ridge Drive, then drop off.
All I could do is go by it doesn't give me the full last name of the person, but I have his first and last initial, and luckily I was able to find him. The first and last initial came up in the directory, so I scored. Let's see, make sure I do the right house. I've been here?
Drop off.
I've been here a few times, so I should be able to find it right away. It's gonna be this house on the left. I'm going to make a U-turn. All right, we are here. All right, so that went just fine. I just have to make a mental note because this guy orders all the time. I have to remember to look him up by his first initial and last initial in the directory, and that does the trick because, like, let's suppose his last initials were AB. Well, all I do is look up the B's and then look for the person with the first name. Like, let's say his name was Alan, for example. That's not his name. But let's say his name was Alan, and then it showed the last name, you know, Brown, Alan Brown. I would be like, oh, okay, that's him, because nobody else has the initials in the directory of AB in the directory of the B's. So I got to remember that for the future, because I seem to come to this drop-off regularly, probably at least once a week. I think I come down here, if not every other week. All right, well, we're still just waiting. Oh, shoot, I didn't unpause my my DoorDash. All right, well, we're just waiting. I'll let you know when something comes in. My neighbors must think I'm so crazy that I'm always coming and going. They're like, this guy, he leaves for a few minutes, then he pops right back and he's home again. DoorDash, $20 to go to Smart and Final and shop for 3 items, and Panera, but it's 16.2 miles. That would be no. Goodbye. Yeah, so I always wonder what the neighbors must think. Although I think they know. I think they know that I do Uber and all this stuff. So I think they know. But I think it's just funny that I'm probably the only person that does that. UberEats, $9.33 for 22 miles. No. I'm like the oddball of the neighborhood. Everybody else spends their leisure time walking their dogs and working in their front yards and just going and running errands and coming home and then spending their time in their house. And I'm the only nut that's like, I'm gonna do Uber and drive people around and pick up people's stuff. They're probably like, what are you doing? I'm like, I don't want to just sit around at home. I want to go do something. Uber Eats, $10.02 for 20.7 miles. No. All right, still just waiting. All right, the time is 9:11 a.m. and we're on our way to Sprouts. It's an Uber Eats order. We're gonna get $24.08 to shop for 13 items, and we're gonna have to drive 6.8 miles. Let's head on over to Sprouts. I'm gonna turn on the app here so we can see what we're shopping for. Looks like we're shopping for some ground turkey, some chicken thighs, some ground beef, green beans, some Great Northern beans, some honey ham, turkey, a lot of meat, eggs, some Sprouts, Sprouts organic California blend something, I don't know what that is. Pork sausage, a lot of meat. This person's a heavy carnivore. Organic dark chocolate cashew butter cups, an onion, and some celery. So nothing too heavy, just a lot of just different items, and it's all mostly meat. So let's head on over there and get it. We got it all and we're headed off to a house 13 minutes from here, 5.9 miles, and it's a leave at the door. Let's go. Everything went fine inside of the store. I just had to do a few substitutions that were on the list, but nothing too major. Everything was all the biggie stuff, like all the meat and stuff, there was no problems finding all that stuff. So everything worked out fairly good. And then I think the only thing that was different for me is I'm still experimenting on the video, trying to come up with different ways to show the shopping experience. So you probably noticed in the video you saw the app, and I was scanning stuff with the app, and then occasionally things would come up where the app wouldn't accept what I had selected, so I had to take a picture of it to confirm that it was the right item. And then I think there was some item that I did that it wasn't correct, and I found the right item. So yeah, that's just a part of the whole process of doing the shopping, is the items that are so similar to each other that when you scan it, it turns out it's not the right item, and then you got to look more closely at what the text is, and then you got to zoom into the picture to see if it matches up. So shopping always takes a lot longer, and that's why it pays a lot more to do, as opposed to the ones where you just go to the restaurant and pick it up and drop it off. So, and it's worth it because it's a lot less miles, so it's a lot less wear and tear on the car. And of course it makes for a better video, I think, than just the regular, you just grab a bag and drop it at the door. So it makes for a more interesting video. And then, there's a lot of unexpected things that can happen, like things can be out of stock. And if the really expensive items are out of stock, then you're in trouble because they're not going to tip you as much. Because the amount of money you get is partially based on how much money the customer spends. So that affects the delivery fee. So the more they spend, the higher the delivery fee. And then of course the tip, they may tip based on the percentage of the total cost of the order. So if you aren't able to find just a few expensive items that are on the list, well, that can significantly affect the final total. And that goes for both DoorDash and UberEats. They're both like that with shopping, where you really have to do your best to find all the items if you can. And sometimes you just can't, and then you just don't get paid as much, which is a terrible situation to be in. I hate when that happens. But there's really nothing you can do about it, so you just have to move on to the next one. The time currently is 9:48 a.m. and it's exactly 100 degrees right now. I don't know what the high temperature is going to be today, but it's a little bit more humid today than normal. So my body does not like humidity. I can already feel a little bit short of breath just by the humidity being as high as it is right now. I can't imagine what it would be like living in Florida. I couldn't live there. I'm sure I would not have such trouble breathing in that type of environment that I would just be like, I'm out of here, and I'd have to come back to the desert. Well, right now we're up in Anthem and we're just cruising along. We still have about another 4 minutes to go, 2 miles until we get there. And this whole area up here is kind of remote from everything. You're kind of stuck on this sort of racetrack loop when you're up here, and you got nothing but residential homes up here, and maybe just like a grocery store and a few other small things. But this is like deep suburbia for this area, and it's where a lot of 55 and over people live. And so there are a lot of single-story homes up here where people just come up here to retire and just live the quiet life. But with this town growing like it is, it's not as quiet as it used to be. This town used to be very peaceful, but I have a feeling a lot of these people are very unhappy that things have grown as fast as it's grown, because now it seems like just a lot of commuters live up here along with the 55 and over crowd. All right, well, we're here in the neighborhood and we're getting closer. I don't know what side of the street it's gonna be on. This neighborhood's always really cute because it has a lot of foliage. It's got the cute trees and the little shrubberies. So it kind of reminds me a little bit of Pasadena, California. It has that kind of vibe to it. You know, they don't want to make it look like the desert at all. They wanted to make it look like it's sort of Mediterranean, or, you know, nothing deserty. They wanted to look more, oh, the birds. Did I run over that quail? Oh dear, I hope I didn't. God, I don't know why the birds always like to run across the road right when I'm going by. I hopefully did not hit them. And so it's going to be coming up. We got about another, I don't know, we got about a quarter of a mile to go still. But I wanted you to see, this is Anthem, but I think it's also Inspirata. I think, I don't know. They're always coming up with these suburban names. But it's a nice community. It's expensive, I believe, for the HOA fees that they have to pay to maintain all this, because, you know, a company has to maintain all of these trees and shrubberies. So that's not cheap. And then they have these like parks in this area too, and they got to pay for all of those. Then they got they have their own park area. I think they have like a little Italian store I saw one time. That's near the park where they can get like snacks or whatever, which I thought was really weird. I'm sure nobody uses it. All right, we're getting close. I think it's going to be the house at the corner on the right. Let's see here. Yep, it's going to be this house here on the right. So we're going to just drop it off. We are here. Let's do it. That's all dropped off, and as I was heading back to the car, the customer came out and said thank you. So we know the groceries got received just fine, and hopefully he's happy with everything and there will be no problems, and we'll get the full tip, and we will know in about an hour. So that's all you can hope for. And yep, and now we're just waiting, and I'm going to start heading back to base. We got about another 15 minutes until something better come in, and if it doesn't, then we're shutting her down. So we'll wait and see. We're almost back to the home base, so I'm going to shut it down, going offline here, and then I'm going to end my dash with DoorDash. End dash. So take a look at the numbers above. It was not very profitable day today. It was a little bit below average, but it was still fine. I didn't have to really work too hard today. There was just a few deliveries to do. So, and we had the big Sprout one at the end that really paid off. So so yeah, so that's about it. So thank you all so much for watching today's show, and I will see you again on the next one. Bye for now.